What's up, visionaries? Welcome back. But today we are going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm playing around in Lightroom. I have these photos that I took at the beach last weekend, and I've just been experimenting with different editing styles, some that are really bright and happy and others that are more dark and moody. So I'm going to take y'all into Adobe Lightroom and show you how I get two different effects using all of the tools. And I do use Lightroom, not Lightroom Classic. I know, very controversial, but I started in Lightroom and that's just always been what I've used. So if you use Lightroom Classic, feel free to still follow along. The tools are very, very similar. Just a little reminder to subscribe to the channel. We got a lot more informational and educational content coming your way. Appreciate everybody who has been tuning in, and let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing that I always do when I go into Lightroom is crop my photo. I usually stick with like a 5x7. We want to make sure this horizon line is straight. For this one, we are going to go for a light, bright, and airy editing style. So first what I want to do is bump up the shadows a little bit here to pull back some of the detail in my hair. But I'm also going to bring down the highlights so that I'm getting all of these nice shadowy tones in the sky. Maybe the tiniest bit of exposure bump. And then we are going to go down here to the color menu, my favorite. And we're gonna bump up the temperature, not quite that much, but maybe like, I think it's on 14 right now. That looks good. So I also do wanna bump up the vibrance a little bit. As you can see, that kind of just enhances some of the colors that are naturally in the photo. Then we are gonna go down into this color grading menu. So I'm gonna just kind of start to put my mouse halfway between in this little shadow curve here, and I usually just kind of one time take it and go all the way around just to see what is actually going to look the best for my photo. So I actually think I kind of nailed it at the beginning with this like orangey tone, maybe a little bit more red here. I'm gonna pull the shadows back a tiny bit. And then here you can just click this eye to see the subtle difference. It's just bringing some additional warmth back into the photo. And then I'm going to do the same thing for highlights, although I do have a pretty good sense of making these purple. Whoa, not that pink though. Just like a very slight pinkish hue. Then I'm going to bring up the clarity a little bit here. And I feel like I still want to enhance the background a little bit with like the beach tones. Do a new radial gradient mask and put it over myself here. And then we are going to go right here and hit invert gradient, because that will actually mask myself and keep the rest of the image able to be edited. So now I'm going to go in a bit more in the contrast here and really pull out some of these beach tones. So I'm bumping up the saturation in the rest of the photo here, and I am going to pull back the shadows as well, just so that some of these more details in the ocean and the sky are super defined. And that is pretty much it. Go back to our main image here, and you can see this is the before and this is the after. It just gives that really soft, effortless, beachy look. Here we go. So I'm going to use a slightly different photo here, and you guys already know the first step. We are going to come in and crop, make sure that our horizon line is nice and straight. And I'm going to zoom in a bit more here and really hone in on the focal point of this photo, which is me. I think something like that is good. So the steps are not entirely different, but instead of bumping up things like exposure and highlights, I'm going to lower them. So we are going to come in here, take down our highlights. We are going to give this photo some contrast. And I am going to enhance the shadows just to keep some detail in some of these like darker areas. I'm going to go down here into the temperature menu and lower this to about -10, just to start bringing back in some of these blues. blues. And I am gonna go into the color mixer here and go into the teal first and make it a little bit more of a blue tone. You can kind of see the difference here. Actually, I think we should amp it up to teal because you really are starting to see the difference in the ocean here. I think that's also the magic of Lightroom too, is like it's okay to just play around and have fun. So I'm gonna bump up the saturation and even maybe the luminance a little bit. Nice blues coming from the ocean, and then we're gonna go into the darker blue here, and as you can see, there's really a lot you can do. So I'm going to just give this a slight teal hue, bump up the saturation a little bit, and then pull down the luminance. As you can see, that's really bringing in some more darkness to the clouds, a little slight before and after here. Then we are going to go down to the color grading menu. I'm going to pull in some more blue toned shadows, so I kind of just eyeball this and mess around. I honestly am starting to like this like teal hue where it's right in between the cyan and the lime green. I think is looking really nice. However, it's just getting a little bit too much. And then highlights, I'm not sure if I want to go too crazy with the highlights here. Again, we're just playing around. And I'm actually really loving the green highlights because I feel like it's playing off of these teal tones that we're adding in. So then I'm also gonna bump up the dehaze just a little bit. As you can see, we're already getting super moody. Go back to my best friend, the radial gradient. What I really like using the radial gradient for is giving your photo a focal point that immediately your eye is drawn to. I think that the radial gradient really helps with that. So I'm going to just put it over myself here, bump up the shadows pretty significantly to maybe -50 here. So I'm just bumping up the exposure 0.08, a very, very slight amount. And I think that is looking good. I might just pull it down here. You can see the difference. And then I'm gonna go back out now to the main photo here. And I think last and final touch is we will add a little bit of vignetting, which I know mixed thoughts on the vignette filter, but I think if you do it sparingly, it can actually add a nice effect to photos that are already a little bit more darker toned. So we're just gonna go very slight, maybe like a -10, and as you can see, that really helps. Again, between the vignette and the radial gradient, it helps create this focal point of your subject here. So I actually am gonna mess really quickly with in the purples here. I can see some purple tones in the blanket. I think I want those to be more blue as well. Ooh, I like that. Even pull the saturation a little bit and brighten it up because I want majority of the color to be coming from the sky and the ocean in this photo. So here is the before and here is the after. It feels very airy, it feels very nostalgic almost. And then here we have a dark and moody tone photo, kind of giving like storm is coming, like honey, we got a big storm brewing, if you will. So as you can see, the possibilities are endless in Lightroom, and let me know if y'all want to see more tutorials like this. Okay, bye!